Hawthorne. Speed changed action movies forever with relentless suspense, killer performances, and one of the wildest rides in Hollywood. Over 30 years later, the actors behind those iconic characters have gone down very different paths. Few are still massive stars today, while others left us far too soon. Let's check in on the cast today and see who is still with us. Dennis Hopper was born on May 17, 1936, in Dodge City, Kansas. 58 years old, he gave a terrifying performance as Howard Payne, the mad genius ex-cop whose bomb plot drove every single second of tension in Speed. He did not need to scream. Hopper built a quiet, calculating psychopath whose mind made him one of the greatest movie villains of all time. His mental war with Jack Traven, played by Keanu Reeves, made this movie special. It was not just another blockbuster. His terrifying screen presence kept everyone on edge. By the time Speed blew up globally, Hopper had already built an incredible career with legendary roles in Easy Rider, Apocalypse Now, Blue Velvet, and Hoosiers. He was known as one of the most fearless actors in Hollywood. Tragically, his incredible journey came to an end on May 29, 2010, when he passed away from cancer at age 74. Over a decade later, that brilliant turn as Howard Payne still sets the standard for action movie villains, keeping his memory alive for fans everywhere. Joe Morton was born on October 18, 1947, Bronx, New York. At 46 years old, he played Captain McMahon, the seasoned, Los Angeles commander who worked tirelessly to stop the deadly bomb plot of Howard Payne. Morton brought a calm authority and strong leadership that kept the crazy action feeling grounded and realistic, turning Captain McMahon into the anchor of the whole crisis. Even though the spotlight mostly stayed on and Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, Morton gave a steady performance that made the police response feel real and raised the emotional stakes. Already highly respected before this movie, he went on to star in Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Of Mice and Men, American Gangster, plus the hit show Scandal, where his role as Rowan Pope won awards. Today at 78, Joe Morton is still one of the most respected actors in film, and his incredible work in Speed shows how a great supporting cast can turn a simple thriller into a legendary 90s classic. Jeff Daniels was born on February 19, 1955, in Athens, Georgia. 39, he played Harry Temple, the loyal partner whose bravery and experience made him the true emotional heart of the film. Daniels brought a real down-to-earth vibe to the role, making his connection with Keanu Reeves feel genuine, which gave the thriller a lot more heart. The tragic death of Harry was a shocker, raising the stakes and proving the real danger of Payne. Long before and after Speed, Daniels proved his incredible range as an actor, starring in major hits like Terms of Endearment, Gettysburg, The Squid and the Whale, Steve Jobs, and the hit HBO show The Newsroom, winning multiple Emmys along the way. He also crushed it in Dumb and Dumber and its hit sequel, proving his incredible comedy skills. Today at 71, Jeff Daniels is still widely respected for his brilliant and diverse career, and his role in Speed remains one of the best emotional hooks in the film. Alan Ruck was born on July 1, 1956, in Cleveland, Ohio. At 38 years old, he played Stevens, one of the officers risking everything to stop the deadly bomb plot of Howard Payne. Even though Stevens was a smaller role, Ruck played him with a sharp realism that made the police team feel like actual professionals. His natural style fit perfectly into the high-octane action, showing exactly why he is one of the most reliable supporting actors in the business. By the time Speed hit theaters, people already recognized him as Cameron Fry from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and he later built up his acting credits with roles in Twister, Spin City, and Freaky, along with HBO's drama Succession, where playing Connor Roy introduced him to a whole new generation of fans. Now at 70, Alan Ruck is still booking solid, consistent work across both movies and television, and his quick turn in Speed is just another great moment in a career spanning over 40 years. Keanu Reeves was born on September 2, 1964, in Beirut, Lebanon. 29, he played Officer Jack Traven, the gutty LAPD bomb expert whose quick thinking and pure guts turned Speed into one of the absolute best action movies of the 1990s. Reeves brought a cool mix of intensity, charm, and real heart, making Jack way more than some basic action hero. That wild race against the clock on a runaway bus farm, mixed with his instant spark with Sandra Bullock, kept people glued to their seats from start to finish. The movie exploded globally, cementing Reeves as a top-tier action star in Hollywood, setting up huge future hits like The Matrix, John Wick, Point Break, and Constantine. Loved not just for his movies but for being incredibly down-to-earth and generous, Reeves has earned massive respect worldwide. Now 61, he is still starring in massive blockbusters and remains one of the most popular guys in show business. But playing Jack Traven is still the career-defining moment that changed his whole life. Next up, Glenn Plummer was born on August 18, 1961, in Richmond, California. At 32, he made a quick appearance as the Jaguar driver whose screaming fit over his wrecked luxury car gave the movie its funniest comic relief, right in the middle of all the chaos. Even with tiny screen time, Plummer stole the scene, proving that a minor character can totally stand out in a massive, high-speed movie. Before joining the cast, he was already respected for heavy roles in South Central, Menace to Society, and Colors, always bringing raw authenticity to the screen. Moving forward, on to book gigs in Showgirls, The Day After Tomorrow, Saw 2, and several TV shows. Now 64, Glenn Plummer is still a highly active actor, easily bouncing between action films, heavy drama, and indie films. That classic quick scene in Speed proves that even the minor characters helped turn the movie into a legendary action classic. Richard Lineback was born on February 4, 1952, Frankfurt, West Germany. At 42, he played Norwood, a veteran, member of the LAPD bomb squad helping Jack Traven stop Howard Payne's deadly threat. While Norwood was a minor role, Lineback's calm style made the elite squad feel completely real, showing the tight teamwork that kept the movie grounded during all that crazy action. And yet, his steady energy fit right into the chaos, making every life-or-death decision feel incredibly real. Over the years, Lineback became a go-to character actor in Hollywood, showing up in Twister, Varsity Blues, Natural Born Killers, The Ring, and tons of television shows. Instead of chasing fame, he was known for bringing raw realism to every set he joined. 74, Richard Lineback is highly respected for a massive career, and his spot in Speed is still celebrated as part of the great cast that made the film a classic. Beth Grant was born on September 18, 1949, in Gadsden, Alabama. 44, she played Helen, the terrified bus passenger, whose panic and desperation perfectly captured what a regular person would go through in such a crazy nightmare. That moment, Grant's emotional performance brought a real human element to the screen. It helped audiences truly feel for the passengers whose very survival hung on Jack Traven's every move. Even with barely any screen time, she built a character people actually rooted for, proving she had that rare talent which ended up defining her entire career. After Speed, Grant turned into one of the most familiar faces in Hollywood, popping up in hits like Donnie Darko and Little Miss Sunshine, Faux Country for Old Men, The Mindy Project, and dozens of TV shows. She had this incredible range, jumping between comedy, drama, and thrillers for more than 40 years. At 76 years old, Beth Grant is still celebrated as a top-tier supporting actress. Her brief stint in Speed gave the movie that genuine human heartbeat, pushing it way past your standard brainless action flick. Hawthorne James came into the world on May 18, 1943, right in Los Angeles. At 51, he played Sam, the seasoned bus driver whose cool head under pressure kept everyone alive early on, in Speed. Long before Annie ever grabbed the steering wheel, Sam's fierce drive to protect his riders set up that insane life-or-death tension running through the whole movie. James brought a real, quiet authority to the part, making Sam feel like just a regular guy thrust through a crazy situation. His incredibly grounded performance made the whole disaster feel real, cranking up the tension right from the opening scene. Over the years, James became a staple in Hollywood, showing up in memorable projects like The Five Heartbeats and I'm Gonna Bet You Sucker, Heist, and 7 Pounds, plus a ton of popular TV dramas. At 83 years old now, Hawthorne James is still deeply respected for his intense, highly authentic work, while his killer performance in Speed remains a huge part of a true action classic. Meanwhile, Carlos Carrasco was born on April 5, 1946, in Panama City. 48, he stepped up to play Ortiz, one of the gritty cops teaming up with Jack Traven to stop the madman, Howard Payne. Even though Ortiz was not a main lead, Carrasco brought a cool grit to the team, making the high-stakes police operation feel totally believable as the chaos unfolded. He looked like a real, hardened street cop, blending right into the film's breakneck, relentless pacing, proving that even the smaller roles were absolute keys to making the movie hit so hard. Outside of Speed, Carrasco had a solid decades-long run, showing up in blockbusters like Jurassic Park, Replacement Killers, ER, NYPD Blue, and Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, winning over fans with his impressive range on both the big and small screens. Today at 80, Carlos Carrasco is still a respected veteran, and his role on that bus keeps him locked in our memories as part of the incredible crew that made this film a classic. Daniel Villarreal was born on June 10, 1947, in San Antonio, Texas. At 47 years old, he took on Ray, one of the veteran cops trying to help the LAPD coroner Howard Payne before the body count went up. Ray might not have had the most lines in the movie, but Villarreal's steady, realistic acting sold the idea that these cops knew exactly what they were doing. Then, he brought a raw authenticity to the intense, high-stakes vibe, keeping the wild stunts feeling totally grounded in reality, even with such a crazy premise. Across a career lasting over decades, Villarreal earned serious respect with roles in Selena, Falling Down, and American Me, Born in East LA, plus several top TV shows, making him one of the industry's most reliable character actors. Sadly, his incredible life came to a quiet end on March 20, 2017, when he passed away from cancer complications at 69 years old. Even though he is gone, Daniel Villarreal's gritty, honest performances still resonate with fans today, and his work in Speed remains a crucial piece of the stellar cast that defined 90s action cinema. Simone Gad was born on June 4, 1918, over in Aleppo, Syria. At 76 years old, she played the very first bus passenger, becoming one of the terrified passengers trapped on that runaway bus in Speed. Even with barely any screen time, Gad brought a raw, genuine vulnerability to the part, making you feel every bit of the terror and panic as that bus barreled down the highway in a brutal race against the clock. She gave the high-stakes action a real beating heart, reminding everyone watching that every single soul on that bus was worth saving. Long before she boarded Speed, Gad had put together a killer career in movies, television, theater, and the arts, showing up in shows like The Twilight Zone, The Beverly Hillbillies, General Hospital, and a ton of other Golden Age television hits. That kind of staying power made her one of the industry's most dependable character actors. Sadly, her incredible journey ended on January 27, 2021, when she passed away of natural causes at 102. Living past a century, Simone Gad left a deep legacy of hard work and pure grit. That brief, unforgettable stint in Speed was just one chapter in an incredibly long, inspiring run. Robert Mailhouse was born on January 22, 1962, in New Haven, Connecticut. At 32, he played the young executive, one of the office guys trapped in the elevator during Howard Payne's terrifying opening bomb plot. His character did not get much screen time. Milhouse played it so natural and real that it really sold the terror of regular working folks thrown straight into a nightmare scenario. 4. This was early in his career, just before he started booking steady gigs all over television and film. Probably recognize him from shows like Picket Fences, The Practice, CSI, Without a Trace, or Days of Our Lives. Fawn. And his work as a professional musician showed he had creative chops way beyond acting. Now 64 years old, Robert Milhouse is still highly respected for building a career on solid, believable performances. His quick spot in Speed is just one cool credit in a massive filmography that has kept us entertained for decades. Even when he was flying under the radar. Patrick Fischler came into the world on December 29, 1969, in Los Angeles, California. At just 24 years old, he played the executive's friend, marking one of his very first movie gigs in Speed. The part was tiny, but Fischler's natural screen presence fit right into the movie's breakneck pace, teasing the incredible range that would soon define his entire career. Instead of chasing traditional leading roles, he established himself as one of the town's go-to character actors, earning serious praise for playing smart, quirky, and deeply layered people. You definitely know him from massive hits like Mulholland Drive, Mad Men Lost, Twin Peaks, The Return, Barry and Suits, where his standout performances stole the show no matter how small the part. 56. Patrick Fischler is still going strong, booking great work across film and television. And that quick cameo in Speed is a fun look back at the early days of a truly top-tier supporting actor. John Capotis was born on December 25, 1941 in Chicago, Illinois. At 52 he played Bob, an officer backing up the LAPD's frantic scramble to stop the insane bomb threat that kicks off the whole plot of Speed. Even though Bob was not a main character. 4. Capotis' grounded performance added real weight to the team, selling the grit and cooperation needed in a massive citywide crisis. Classic, rugged New York vibe and direct delivery made him one of those faces you always recognize, even if his name escapes you. Over the decades, he built a massive resume with memorable gigs in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, Independence Day, The General's Daughter, Family Business, and countless hit TV shows. At 84 years old, John Capotis is still highly respected as one of Hollywood's most dependable character actors. His part in Speed is a prime example of how great side characters helped turn this movie into a timeless action classic. Richard Schiff was born on May 27, 1955 in Bethesda, Maryland. At 39, he played the train driver, stepping in right during the film's wild final climax, while the runaway subway train barreled toward disaster. Even though his screen time was short, Schiff brought a sharp urgency that made the terrifying sequence feel incredibly real. This gig came right before he hit the big time, offering an early glimpse of the massive talent that was about to take over. Over the next few years, he bagged an Emmy for playing Toby Ziegler in The West Wing, then kept delivering killer performances in shows like The Good Doctor, Jurassic Park, The Lost World, Man of Steel, and a ton of other massive movies and TV shows. At 71, Richard Schiff is still one of the industry's most respected character actors, and that quick but memorable role in Speed was just the beginning of a truly incredible career built on real depth and talent. Sandy Martin was born on March 3, 1949, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. At 45, she played the bartender, serving up another incredibly grounded supporting performance. Though her screen time was short, Martin's raspy voice and sharp personality made the role feel completely real, grounding the movie right in the middle of all that crazy action. Famous for her insane range, she built a career that went from theater, film, TV, directing, and writing, turning her into one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces. You probably remember her from cult classics like Napoleon Dynamite, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Big Love, Ray Donovan, and plenty of other hit shows. Now 77. Sandy Martin is still widely loved for her one-of-a-kind screen presence and decades of killer work. Her speed role is just one of many that shaped American film and TV. Sandra Bullock was born on July 26, 1964, in Arlington, Virginia. In the U.S., at 29 years old, she landed her breakout role as Annie Porter, a regular commuter forced to drive a bomb-rigged city bus in one of the greatest action thrillers ever made. Bullock gave Annie brains, guts, humor, and a genuine heart, giving fans a heroine they couldn't help but root for. Her natural chemistry with Keanu Reeves became biggest strength, turning Speed into a massive critical and commercial success. The role skyrocketed Bullock to global fame, setting her up for hits like While You Were Sleeping, Miss Congeniality, and The Blind Side, which scored her an Oscar for Best Actress, plus Gravity and The Proposal. Today, at 62, Sandra Bullock is still one of the most successful stars in Hollywood, and her legendary turn as Annie Porter remains one of the absolute best female leads in action movie history. Thanks for hanging out as we look back at a cast of Speed. Which star's path shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and stick around for more before and after lookbacks at cinema's biggest classics.